Okay, everyone, you can probably hear me banging around over here anyway because I forgot to mute my mic, but we are back for the... No, what is that? I'm sorry, I'm just checking out stuff as I'm trying to get this started. All right, back for live drawing with JM DeSantis. Might have something special today. I don't know yet. I kind of had a different plan. And then, I don't know, I was playing with some video editing software for about an hour and a half before this. Might be good things for the channel. I don't know. Well, the YouTube channel anyway. Just take that down a little bit. Hello, Cirilla. She is here with us. Anyway, updates, anything? Well, other than the little teaser I posted this week, which I can't talk too much about. I do have another thing coming, which I kind of teased on a live stream and my Patreon supporters know about. Sorry, I'm just moving my... See, this is the lighting I would like better for the video, but the minute I start drawing, that's got to come on. So when I start looking like a ghost. Hey, James, how you doing? I really enjoyed... I'm sorry I couldn't stay for the entire meeting the other day, but I enjoyed it. So thanks for the invite. Again, I have, what is it? Garden State Comic Fest winter edition at the Sussex County Fairgrounds this weekend. So I will not be able to attend another meeting until the following weekend when I have the Darksome Arts and Crafts Market online. Yeah, and follow them on Instagram and stuff because I gotta find all that stuff, but I'll post it out because I'll be having like a sale during the, at least on my Etsy store, I'll be having a sale. I'm still adding things to it. It's been a week of juggling a lot of things. All right, so let's get the art board up. Oh man, I didn't adjust this camera right before this. I appreciate that. And I also appreciate everyone's, warm welcome and help. Oh, Cirilla, nobody wants to see a black screen. Your cute face is fine, but not the black screen. Yeah, so, right. I appreciate all the resources they gave me. I still have them all written down here. Cirilla's getting in the way, It's going to make me hit the wrong thing, and then I'm going to... I don't know why I write things on these little scrap papers, because I'm always afraid I'm going to, lose them, but whatever. I keep them on the table. Wow, 4 people in already. What an honor. All right, so, yeah, I was originally going to be working on some stuff that I wanted to get going for Valentine's Day, which was... Oh, yeah, there's Chadi on again. She hasn't disappeared from the area yet. Because, I was working on, what was it? Mummy piece, right? That was last week, and I haven't touched it since. And then I've got, well, this one I haven't finished. I actually was drawing that a long time ago. Yeah, but you know what? I have such nice notebooks. I almost compulsively buy, I haven't in a while. The last time I did was Barnes & Noble had this great sale on paper blanks, and I think I bought about 15 of them. Right? This is a new one, which I didn't do on the show. This love bat over there that I wanted to put on a greeting card. Him I'm gonna computer color. I just want to fix up some of the outlines and everything. I don't know if I'll do that now. It depends on what I decide I want to do after I'm done scratching Cirilla's neck, since she's just not going to let me work. But, worth mentioning, last night she was like laying on my chest, which she rarely does. It's only happened a few times, but she was there for a good while. Anyway, why does that say JM's? Oh, because I'm highlighting it. I should get like an external mouse so it's a little bit easier for me to work the camera on the laptop. And maybe one day I'll get like a really good camera one, Maybe there's enough people watching or money coming in. Oh, but while she's still petting, while I'm still petting her, obviously I've been updating the graphics to the show. Oh, I don't think I updated the new graphic for the ending of the show. That's okay. But anyway, yeah, I'm starting to look at some video editing software so that I can get some content videos on the channel too, which would be, artist stuff and, just hacks and artist hacks. And just info and lessons and I don't know. Actually, I'm not even working on any of that. When I was playing with the software, I was trying to make an intro video for my videos, an intro video for Darkfire Press's stuff, and then also a trailer video for one of the new things I have coming up. Not the Upper Deck thing, that's all for them. But, I'm not gonna be able to say anything about that till like June or July, so, I just wanted to get the what do you call it? The teaser out just to, have some people getting excited about something that's coming along, So what are we doing here? I don't know. I hate when I start getting all kinds of like notifications. Well, I don't hate it, but sometimes I'm like checking stuff while I'm on the stream. That's another reason why I want to get another camera. Then I don't have to worry about this. You're just about done, Cyril? I want to get drawing. So anyway, if she does let me move into this, there is a possibility that instead of these pieces, I have another piece I'm working on that I can't show because it's for a freelance job. I might work on a comic page for said future teased other thing that is not Upper Deck. It reminds me of the bat from Anastasia. You know what? I guess I kind of vaguely know that bat, Danny. Thanks for stopping by the way. But I have never seen the movie. So, yeah. I don't know. I guess it could be, but I guess I've probably seen clips and stuff like that. I know of it, but I'm 41, so the last Disney animated anything movie I saw, because I don't remember if Anastasia is a Disney movie or not, but the last any of those type of animation films I saw in the theater was The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And I was starting to age out of wanting to watch cartoons at that time. So anything that Disney put out afterwards, I never saw. I think no, I didn't. Yeah, no, I haven't seen anything else. I'm trying to think of what my sister-in-law's, who's like a Disney adult, made me want to sit down and watch, but I don't know that I have. Oh, no, I did see The Princess and the Frog, which was good. I've wanted to see Mulan, but I'm also horrendous about sitting down and watching movies on my own. I need like a watch party or partner or whatever. shows too, and shows are worse because I can't. I always tell people I have commitment issues when it comes to shows. I just can't do it. I need to film one and done. It's just with that though, I swear. The rest of my life I don't have a problem. I just like to keep it interesting. Anyway, does Kitty ever swap my pencils? Yes. She bites them, she swats them, but I'd rather her doing that than chewing on the spines of my books, which is what she really likes to do. There she goes. I posted a picture very recently that she was just laying on my work while I was while I was trying to get the script done for the new comic I'm working on. I don't know. We'll be all over the place tonight, I guess. I had started measuring this out when I got sidetracked by the video editing software, so. But, you know, it's going to be really boring watching me draw lines. My least favorite part of the art part of being an artist. My least favorite part of being a professional artist in total is going to the post office. But luckily I have started to be able to avoid that due to having a weigh station and a thermal printer and the ability to have pickup at my apartment. This is just great. On the other hand, you still have to draw lines. And I just got so bored with rulers. And the question will probably come up, and I could probably do a video on this too. JM, why, when there are companies that make pre-measured, pre-cut comic paper, do you sit and measure your paper out yourself? Well, now this is being done on Bristol because it has to be a black and white piece, so I'm going to ink it. But typically, since I work in watercolors, you know, I guess I could try to get a printer that I could feed it through and then print out the lines, but why? Why do that? And yeah, I am drawing lines there. I like making them very light, just so you all know. And you can see them barely even that close up. But yeah, you know, I don't know. It takes time. Yes, I even have to hand cut them. Although that's one of the videos I have. I found out a way to, without a paper cutter, and just a way of clipping the paper and using an X-Acto blade and a straight. Well, I use a box cutter. These great things. They're just stronger. Even though I don't try to hack my way through a paper, but I found a way to cut accurately multiple pieces. You still got to be a little careful, but if you don't have one of those paper slicers, boy, have I got a video for anyone that wants to cut their own paper, which is probably just about no one. If you have to cut in bulk, at least. Yeah, I figured out a fantastic way. And I just need that intro to my videos. Why? Because, I don't know. I'm going to make videos on YouTube. I don't want to look like I'm like a early 2000s YouTuber starting out. I just like to have a little bit of at least a sense of a, what do you call that? Production value? For whatever it's worth. Anyway, all the fun stuff. Well, you know, this is something, although my phone is making this a little difficult on that side. For those ever wondering how to measure, I could do a video on this too. But yeah, you gotta make 2 dots, not lines, because lines are inaccurate. You want to make 2 dots and kind of in the same, well, at the same measurement, taking for granted that the paper's straight on the edges. I usually like to use whatever the factory cut side is, and then you put the ruler between those 2 dots like you're balancing it on a balancing beam almost. 1 dot, it's not going to balance. Just like 1 finger, you're not going to balance the ruler as well, right? So you put a ruler on 2 fingers, that's them in place. Same thing with the dots. Anyway, enough babbling. Here's another thing I find very useful when I'm drawing my comics, my little cheat sheet here. I also have a scale, a ratio scale too, but yeah, this helps me remember where all the measurements have to be, because since I'm doing it on my own, I sometimes forget. And it's color coded because I'm crazy like that. I think it's the midsection. What is it? The blues are 1/3 and the greens are a quarter, something like that. And the measurements go from side or top, so that I can always. This comes with me sometimes. I'll usually use like old scrap paper to make one of these, just so that. I used to have one that was actual size, and then I don't know. I decided along the way I didn't need that. Now, this particular comic, I need to take extra inches off of it. Now, let me just make sure about this, right? It's 1.5. I mean, that's 3, and then you got 1, 2, 3. Yeah. It feels like maybe I should take the whole extra 1/2 inch off of it, not a 1/4 inch. If I did a 1/2 inch off, what does that make? It just takes it down to here, huh? I think that's doable. We're going to try it out. Throw caution to the wind. Anyway, speaking of aspect ratios, this one that's getting printed is not the same as a regular comic page, but I still want to be able to reprint it down the line. God. I was also looking at making ASMR videos today too. It just, everything got so sidetracked. So, sketches. Even though I changed it around, preview. We'll see. I might just lay this out and then not touch it until tomorrow. Okay, so 4 inches out from the side is about 1/3, which is what I want. Right? Yeah, because a 1/4 is going to be too thin. 1/3. 1/3. This is why sometimes I like this thing even further up. Now, of course, it's going to get caught right on the ornament. Made it happen. All right. And that's 4 inches inches out, and this is 4 inches out for another. For 1/3 there. And then, because I just know that 1/3 of the page is going to be this thing. Maybe a little bit more, but at least that gives me pretty good. So bad, you guys can't see anything there. I'm really bad at drawing dark enough that anyone can see what I'm doing here. Maybe I shouldn't. This isn't going to help that much, though. But, you know, there's lines there, I promise. Just doesn't look like it, but, you know, I just draw. Because you know what? When I have my guidelines in, I'm probably going to need to erase some. I don't need them to be too dark. I'm also using a 5H, which is not typical. Usually I use a... Damn, that's not even going to show up, is it? There it is. 5H. You can kind of see that. Hey, well, yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I see you posting artwork. Fedora. But I forgot who the actor was. I just saw that come up on my Instagram feed recently. But yeah, doing all right. Starting off the year with a few small shows and a decent sized show this weekend. So maybe we're not going to use the 5H on camera anymore. 3H. Probably see that better. Well, I didn't mean the number. I meant like the lines will show up better. Still can't see that. Great. Anyway, I can see it. God, that's wild. I need like a 4K. Need a 4K camera or something. I don't know what it is. Spencer Tracy. Yeah. Very good question. I don't even know if I've. And, you know, I've seen a lot of old films. I don't know that I've seen a Spencer Tracy film. That's a good question. I mean, I know of him, right? But, like, mostly I know the horror actors from way back in the day. And then for some reason, well, I mean, people know, like, you know, like Clark Gable and everything. But, I mean, if you go, like, really far back into black and white, like the only one that sticks out in my mind is James Cagney. That's about it. But you know, so what am I doing here? Oh well, I should probably sketch it out first. All right, so this is going to be a little bit contingent on what goes on up there. I might even get it a little lower. Right. Oh, I appreciate that. Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney Jr. and Sr., Bela Lugosi. I haven't seen a lot of Basil Rathbone movies, but, you know, I guess he kind of crossed over from black and white into... Did he cross over into color a little bit? Vincent Price definitely did, but he was a bit older. Well, younger. Came later. Whatever. But yeah. My limited but very focused knowledge of old Hollywood. Oh, this is going to be interesting, huh? Okay. Well, that might work out okay. Trying to envision exactly how this is going to work. Well, okay, well, if I could come across here, I'll figure that out. But then, yeah, all the rest of this, man, I need to fit in quite a bit. If I just shrink that a bit. What do we got here? We got, okay, so I can't do it this way just because I know that I need the one to be a little bit more across. I go that way, but this is so uninteresting. It doesn't usually go, oh my god, nobody gets it. I don't know what to do for you guys. You know, there are sketches happening there. It just starts so. Look at the cute pen. Look at the cute pen. And what we got? Mummy over there. I don't know. No finger. That's for you Dark Souls fans. All right. Yeah, because I can put that there, do this here, be for here. Well, should probably bring up my script because that's usually the best way to do this. Because that's so far away. Since that's so far away, wait a second. Sorry, I'm like leaning slightly off camera right now. I'm trying to get this into a better spot. Oh, man. I'm gonna need to go grab my glasses. What a fun little thing we got going here on my live stream. Just all these random little things coming through. I don't remember if I highlighted that well. 2 seconds, everyone. Unless it's behind me. No. Glasses are on my coffee table. Hang on a minute. No, I can't see them from over there, but if they're not behind me, then I know they're on the coffee table. Anyway, I just need to see how much text is in this thing. Because, you know, anyone that hasn't read anything by me should know. I write a lot of words. Text messages aren't short if you got them from me. I should have been banned from Twitter for abuse of people's time because half the time I can't even keep to the character count. I have to like edit down my Instagram posts so that they'll fit on what is that? Twitter. X. I'm not calling it X. Twitter. So that might be a hint. Okay, so I got about that's really cutting it close here. But I could, right? Could. and move her up a little bit. Move her up a little bit. Okay, and then I can move this up just a tad. Right. Okay. And then I get a little bit more room there. Right. And the thing is, like, I don't know if that's going to put out a lot. I guess I could try and over a bit. We'll see. I swear I'm a lot more precise when I start these things, but I don't have that luxury right now. See, to me, I could go a little bit higher there. God, I hate square panels. They just kind of look. Right, okay. Did I cut out something? Oh my god, it's the wrong version of the script. No wonder why. Like, I could swear there were more words. Okay. Right. Cut it there, that would be about there, but that would be so small. Sorry. A little bit over too much. Can't get it to zoom out more. Anyway. Alrighty. And then we got that over here, right? Yes. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of doing it this way, though. I'm going to figure out how to make it work. I can go right there. Right in front. Makes sense. Okay. And then, yeah, just how many words are that one's going to be such a big panel? Big caption. How many words are there? Only 43. You're not too bad. Okay. You got that little bit on the bottom, right? You're going to have a little bit there. Voice bubble. One either there. There. Okay. Time to actually start making something out of this. I'm eventually going to measure out all those borders too. Okay, so don't be silent in the chat, everyone. I promise you're not bothering me. Certainly helps me keep focused during this, believe it or not. But okay, so we're going to have Now, obviously, I don't usually start with the head, but right now I gotta get the head into the right position here, otherwise I'm gonna mess the whole thing up. All right. It's not going to go this way. What a weird all that is. Okay. Hey, bud, how you doing? Hope the painting job is going well. Doing okay, cool. When do you leave for vacation? I forgot to ask you that earlier. When do you actually well, I probably shouldn't ask you that on a live stream in case you have people casing your house. I know. I know. I don't know. What's wrong with playing? But yeah, so anyway, Bud's not going anywhere. He's got painting to do because we painted the wrong color, or he didn't like the color he used, so, you know. I don't want them to be completely off the completely lost the page there. No. Okay. Oh, they chose it. So now they want you to go back and fix the mistake that they made in their choice of color. Well, you know, that's always nice. People do it to artists as well. Not the painting houses. There's not an art to it. Well, I assume, perhaps foolishly, that you get paid for that, having to redo it if they don't like the color that they chose. If so, it's a pain, but at least you're compensated. A lot of times, if somebody doesn't like a piece of artwork, we don't get compensated for redoing it. That's like part of the price. I freehand, no tape, and yes, absolutely. Oh my God, no tape. I've done it, but it really takes a lot of focus and patience, which I don't mind all the time, but yeah. I definitely have done painting too. All right, my lines are starting to become like just a mess of nothing right now. Well, I ask myself stuff like that every day of my life. God. I'm asking myself that right now while I'm drawing this thing, you know? But it's okay. I still have my glasses on. Oh, yeah, that's good. I mean, yeah, for all the stuff I've done, and, you know, it's not even the art thing. Painting, if you can just like work and there's no like hiccups or anything, and you're just sitting in a room like doing it, it can be relaxing. I actually was doing some painting this past summer for a maintenance job I was working temporarily. When I got to Falks marble or wood grain or mural, I got chat equals itself out. Yeah, textured walls can be, or no, you're talking about putting it in, I guess, but yeah. I don't like that pose. I don't like that pose one bit. Okay. Maybe not quite that big. Okay. Decisions. Well, we're looking pretty good here, I can say, for certain. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, something like that. Well, I think we need something a little bit better than that. I watch JM just get rid of all his hard work. If I can find my eraser, which there's 50-50 shot that might count. Oh, there we go. I almost blamed Cyrilla for this. What am I tackling? Well, I'm setting up a comic page, and this is for something that I haven't quite announced yet. I think last time on the stream I kind of gave a hint that I was going to be doing a new comic for the newspaper, and it might involve my typical comic character, Chadiana. What the hell? Why did my screen go? Oh, because I'm not, just keep the feed open. Yeah, so I'm laying out the page, which is not something I normally do on a live stream, but I got to get this done too. And I kind of feel like I have so many things building up, and maybe this is the safest of all of them to do at the moment. In the sense that my publisher might not be opposed to it right now, but On the other hand, some of the other freelance gigs I've got, I don't know that I can really show. Well, again, not including the one that I teased, which I cannot talk about more than I already did. That was the full extent of what I was allowed to say working for Upper Deck on a licensed product. I was allowed to say what the license was for, but I figured rather be safe than sorry. I'm pretty sure the initial letter and the colors give it away just enough, but you know. Okay, so yeah, that's looking a little bit better. A little bit more dynamic on that pose there. And then we've got, well, keep that on this way. Oh yeah, well, that would be good, right? Sure. Just talking to myself doesn't line this out, right? All right. Well, this one is up. That's the leg that's posting. That one is in front, but it can be a little bit more bent. Huh. Could have her do the old cowboy thing. Hey, no worries. Yeah, but I'll talk to you soon, bud. Get good sleep. Happy painting. You know, I hope you enjoy it for what it's worth, and have a good night. People are in and out anyway, so you never have to come and stay. Don't worry. You know. Talk to you soon. 45 minutes on a live stream, and you guys have watched me fiddle around with this area here. But as always, I hope it's at least entertaining. You know, and if it is, you just smash that like and subscribe button. Figure out my content. So that you can see more of these crazy videos of me talking to myself and my cat sabotaging my stream. Yeah. Riveting. Thank you, James. I appreciate that you think it is. But, you know, I try to keep it entertaining. And I think just going with that insane babble part of my personality is just I don't know, maybe the most endearing thing I can do at this live stream. That and Cirilla, of course, because we all know that there are a lot of people that come just to watch the cat. Steph and Carrie Ann Wilson, for example, usually come in just to see the cat. Cirilla the cat. That was interesting, though, because during that meeting, right, James, somebody asked me if Cirilla was for the creator of the, I guess, I never knew how to really say it, if it's a Carillion or Cerulean. you know, oh, yeah. Well, that's cool. Thanks. I don't know that I'm the most efficient at it. I don't know why it looks so much different on the screen than it does. Like, I swear, her leg does not look that short. Like, this looks so much bigger. Maybe it's because of the angle. I don't know. But then you won't be able to see it. Oh, well. It is what it is. Yeah, the Cyrillic, or is it Cyrillic? I just don't know if it's a hard or soft C. That's all I'm saying. And yeah, I don't know why I was saying Cyrillian to Cyrillic. I know that word. But yeah, I don't know if that's where the name originally came from, honestly, because so it's a funny story, right? Like I was playing The Witcher 3 and I was reading the first Witcher book and the Witcher series. Okay, so it's the same. And the Witcher series was coming out. Here she comes. Um, like the Netflix series, and I got her, and I felt like she, although some people don't like the word so much anymore, but I felt like she had a very exotic look for a cat, and I wanted a name that kind of fit that. And I remember looking up just different obscure names, and Cyrilla with a C came up, because Cyrilla in The Witcher is with actually an SI, right? So, but I don't know. For when I looked up the name, if I am not mistaken, it was a female name of Greek origin, from what I could understand. Oh yeah, you're right there. What's up, lady? Mm-hmm. Yes. So yeah, I mean, she wasn't, and that's why I said to the group, like, I don't know if technically uh, that's where her name came from, but it was kind of like a combination of finding that name and being like, well, I'm reading The Witcher anyway, and it's an alternate spelling of the character. Hello. Cyrilla, Fiona Ellen, Reno, Rion also known as Siri, or the Lion Sintra. Is it spelled with a C? I thought she was an S for some reason. Yeah, but technically, okay. I mean, again, for some reason I thought she was Siri with an S. No, you're probably right though. Siri with a C, just with an I instead. I'm probably getting that part. I got mixed up. But yeah, it was just kind of like a little bit of kismet sort of thing. Like I found the name and was also playing the game and reading the book. So, and the Netflix series was coming out in a few months because I got her in September. And I forgot. I think that series had premiered back in October of 2019 or November of 2019. Because I know I got Cyrilla pre-COVID. Because we had, Jesus. We had a couple of months where it was normal, where I was like going to work every day. And then, I was teaching. So she had the winter break with me home. And then all of a sudden, COVID, and she had me home again all the time. What's up, lady? So yeah, very good books by the. Well, I've only read the first one, but I'm. So here's the thing: I'll read and watch just about anything horror, and I love horror and fantasy. But with fantasy, I'm a snob. I get really picky about my fantasy. And The Witcher exceeded expectations in the sense that I just thought it was going to be like okay, and I was like really, really enjoyed it. So that was cool to find another book series to read. It's hard with me, right? Because I always talk about it, and while I'm drawing this, it's a good thing to bring up. I mean, I'm a big Tolkien and Robert E. Howard fan, first and foremost. And then, you know, I have a lot of video game influences as far as fantasy goes as well. Um, More recently, of course, the Dark Souls series, but um, I was a big fan of, like, of course, Castlevania, which is strictly dark fantasy and horror, but also Vagrant Story was just such a big influence on me. So anyway, yeah. So you got that stuff, and then as far as like other writers went, it's like I tried out Brandon Sanderson, and I'll never knock anybody for liking what they like. I did not care for his writing whatsoever. And the same thing with Michael Moorcock and I'm forgetting the one guy's name. Lord Fowl's Bane. Donaldson, something like that, right? Last name. Just didn't. No interest whatsoever in continuing with those. But then I remember it took me a long time to get to Fritz Lieber's Fafhrd and Grey Mouser series. I read, what is it? Mike Mignola drew it, but the graphic novel adaptation first, and I picked up the books and I was like, "Oh, these are good. I like this series." I still have to read. Oh, and I've read the first book of the New Sun, Shadow of the Torturer, which was really good. But I haven't read Mervyn Peake's Gormenghast books yet, which I hear are pretty good too. So I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff on my shelf, and I never get to it because I seem to read slower and slower as I get older. I love to read, but it's like time winds up being an issue to a certain extent. As I talk and draw these lines at the same time and drown out my voice. Alrighty, so. So yeah, I get a little picky, but Witcher's good. I still got to read Glenn Cook's The Black Company, right? Black Company, is that what it is? Something like that. What is it? Baker's? Is Baker the one that does The Prince of Nothing? And I want to read the Books of Fallen. What is it? Alzaban, something like that. I have the first one, Garden of the Moon, or something like that. I don't know. I'm sounding really ignorant, and I got to read Dune because I hear Dune's something I would like. But I'm in the middle of Salem's Lot right now, which I've been reading for a couple of months now because I just inconsistently sit down to read. Okay. Done enough? Maybe that's done enough for that. you know what, though? I can make it one of my fun little banners that I like making so much. Not that it matters too much, but, you know, something. Well, then it's got to come up short, but it's got to go out. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, I normally don't draw with an H, but I'm really trying to make sure this is all laid out good, and then I can worry about actually drawing it. Well, I'll lay out the panel borders with the H's because I want them to be less erasable. But all my light lines and my breakdown lines, I try to use the harder leads because they just don't smudge as much. I'm not a blue line person like some of my comic artist friends. I just feel like since I scan my artwork, I don't photograph it. It's just gonna like show up anyway. Oh, and I do love Lovecraft. I don't like Lovecraft's fantasy stuff. Like a lot of his dream cycle stuff, I just think it's okay. My personal opinion. I like his horror stuff. Edgar Rice Burroughs. Yeah, well, I do have to clarify. Of course, I do a lot of Lovecraft stuff. In fact, the Kirkland. Well, Robert Phillips, my first novel, is like directly continuing off of some of the Lovecraft stories, and even has some features of the like characters and stuff in it. And the Kirkland horror is very Lovecraftian, and my comic, The Tainted Ones, is very Lovecraftian. Right, Edgar Rice Burroughs. Still haven't read him, which is funny. I do have. Let's see. I don't want to get these two confused because maybe I'm speaking about two different authors. But I have Tarzan and I have Princess of Mars on my bookshelf. But they've been sitting there since college, maybe. I'm telling you, I buy so much stuff, James. I was reading through Viking mythology and I was buying books so fast, and I still haven't read the Heimskringla, which is the history of kings of Norway. I read like everything else, and that's just been sitting there since probably just after college because I just moved on to another topic. It's weird what happens with me sometimes. Burroughs, but that reminds me of another one because there was another writer who I've read Arthur Conan Doyle too, of course, but that's not horror, but I do like his writing. And although I had mixed feelings about Dracula, I've read other stories of Bram Stoker and I like his stuff. Although I prefer vampires, Frankenstein's still my favorite book, but I don't really consider it all horror. Who is the other one? Oh, well, he's not a classic author, but he sort of like spawned out of that same kind of like after Tolkien group. Oh, the red-haired gentleman that I think had an alcohol problem. Created the Kane books. Wagner, is that right? How many books sold? My brain wanders too. Yeah, that's the worst part. My brain does wander while I'm reading. And it can be anything. It can be the book can remind me of something I have to do, something from like just memory, or I'm like thinking, oh, the author did this, but you know what I thought would have been really good. And then I start thinking of a whole idea for a story off of that. Or yeah, my mind will just wander into something completely innocuous. You know, like Stephen King could bring up some song that's playing on the radio, and somehow that sends me down a rabbit hole where suddenly I'm Googling avocados for whatever reason. Don't even know how I would get there. Yeah, Wagner, I'm pretty sure. Why can't I remember the guy's first name? But yeah, I didn't really care for the Kane stories either. I got this nice thick book. Two authors though that I really like, and that's going back into the horror thing that I don't think are you don't see as much about them because they didn't just stand. And of course I'm a big Poe fan because I'm basic like that. But I really like. I always get the last name, middle name mixed up, but Joseph Brennan Payne or Joseph Brennan Payne, um, awesome writer, and I really like Carl Jacoby too, who just never. I had to track down a used version of one of his books, hardcover, just like a collection of his stories, because like nobody. I found one of Carl Jacoby's stories. It was the what is it? The Spanish Camera, I think, is the one he wrote, something like that. Awesome story. I was like, how come I've never come across this writer before? It was in a collection of vampire stories, and I like looked him up, and nothing. Can't even find a book on it, like collections. Maybe now, but last time I looked, wasn't that long ago. I think it was during COVID. Nothing in print. You can only find like a story here or there. But honestly, like, really good writer, in my opinion. Mm. So, mm. Yeah, it's I don't like thinking of it as like a woe is me kind of thing, but I definitely do feel that uh, being creative comes with its challenges. Besides just whatever linked neuroses everyone winds up with. There's also just the fact that, yeah, it's like just on the creative end, it's like really hard to shut that off sometimes. It's easier for me now. So far, what the hell? Nelson's message. Nelson with Geek Emporium. I hope he'll be at the Sussex County Fairgrounds this weekend. Anyway, yeah, what was I saying? They just doing a live stream and I get distracted. So it's right. So I think I was doing better. Yeah, but the lines are still really light, but you can kind of see how this starts to come together for me. A comic page. I usually do break it. This one came together because I have to get this done fast. I got to get this done by Friday. And actually, a little bit less time if I want Mindy to letter it in time. Mindy Lumpkin, my letterer. But I actually sketched out first. Typically, I write the script first. I I had already plotted out all the issues. Giving too much away. And then given too much away in the case of like how long this is going actually. So yeah, I plotted out everything and I kind of knew what I was going to do with the first one. I had it all up here. So I was able to break it down because I had a little bit of a lull at my last convention. So sitting there, I just sketched it out real quick. And then, yeah. And then I wrote the script, cleaned up a couple of things so that I kind of knew what actually words wise was going to be in the panels. And then, yeah, got So there were some changes, obviously, because in the original one, I'm trying not to give too much away, right? In the original one, obviously, it was 2 close-ups and a zoom out at the side, but I changed the zoom out, zoom into a bigger piece. I wanted a close-up here, and then this panel on the side. So, that pretty much stays the same. I hope I'm not spoiling too much. But anyway, yeah, well, this kind of sets everything up anyway. It's just the front piece for what follows. Look for that trailer. I'm kind of excited about that. We got our other trailer for a short comic piece. Exciting times. Exciting times. I guess you wouldn't be able to see much behind her, would you? Yeah. A little so over there, maybe something. I'll let that go off the page because I don't mind if that does, but then everything here, I want it to be on a straight line. Okay, right. So. Mm-hmm. I'll figure it out. This I think will work just fine. Probably gonna shrink this thing a little bit. I don't think its head should be as big as her entire body. Move this a little bit more over. Yeah, maybe it's easier to say. I don't know why I still. Well, I know there's a light behind me, but I still would love a way where I could shine a light on this, not blow out the camera in front of me, and then everybody. You can still see me. You can still see the board. Like when I go and do like videos just for uploads or whatever, it's not going to be an issue because Anyway, I'd like to get through Salem's Lot and then finally read what is in that same book. It's just I've been carrying this around for months. Anyone's spent any time in person with me, it's just been this frigging book that's going around with me. You can see we've made some progress since the last time I even showed it on camera. I don't know. I miss the days when I would just like polish off a book in like 2 weeks, because I still never read fast, but because I always was very careful with reading. But still, it was nice when I could just do it. And that was while I was going out of college. A girlfriend that lived an hour and a half away. And I was commuting to college all the time too. And we had professors that just were like relentless with work. Because art, I was still reading like so much. So I don't. This is going to seem very strange, but figuring out the comp for Chaviana and you know how she how that actually sits on her. It was such a weird thing because I used to do things so much more abstractly, and when I try to make them a little bit more realistic, it doesn't always translate well. But I recently saw, somewhat recently, one of the original actresses who played Sonya Blade for Mortal Kombat 3 had recently done a photo shoot where she donned the costume, so to speak. And I was like, you know what? Oh, that's how the top is supposed to look. So I remember pulling up a bunch of images, which I can't look up now because they're on my phone, but I kind of remember it. And yeah, it's a lot better. Because it's really like the sleeveless crop top. One of the many things I did differently with Chaviana was not have her have that Wonder Woman thing where cleavage was showing, but instead, you know, go with midriff instead, which, little did I know, I created her in 20, 2012. 20, not 20. I sound like an idiot saying it that way. When I created her in 2012, and actually really kind of from a painting in 2011, I didn't know that midriffs were going to be a thing. I was just kind of thinking, probably somewhat stereotypically at the time, but I was thinking like belly dancers as a partial inspiration. And then, yeah, it just evolved from there. But I suppose it is better when I can take the time to actually do all this like light work first before I actually draw it. Because, you know, once upon a time I had a professor that told me I was very good at gesture drawings, and I rarely do them because I'm always just trying to get like the panels laid out and everything. And it's a mistake. It's a mistake. Due to, I don't know what I would call it, but I've built some bad, I've ignored some sage wisdom and even practice I put in for expediency, and kind of like readopted some bad habits I'm trying to break. And no, I feel like for, even though like I arrived at a really good art style, I feel like it's been gone through this odd transition lately where I'm not always quite sure where it's going. But you know, let's go down. Anyway, headlights. I'm sorry, I always get curious. So, a little bit of self gratification. On the class. Usually have these on live stream. It's always nice when I see who liked it. I know that somebody stopped by for at least even a second, and Oh, no, and somebody new too. That's cool. And I can't even see all the names, but I know who the last one was. I can only see the Facebook ones for whatever reason. I can't see who likes it on YouTube, if anybody does. Speaking of YouTube and Facebook, though, did I say this already? This live stream, supposedly, I know I've said it in a past one. I think supposedly Instagram is now integrated with StreamYard, but I am still getting the warning that says Instagram may cut the stream off after an hour. It doesn't always happen, but I don't want to take the risk. I'd rather them, because supposedly they're in contact with Instagram to get that fixed. And I would rather know it's fixed. But I would love to stream to Instagram as well and just cut out one to Facebook because I can only do the 3 spots. So I'd probably do personal Facebook where more people watch from Instagram, YouTube. But I know that I have followers on Instagram, quite a few, in fact, because, I think I'm breaking even higher numbers and hoping. Well, we're still a little bit away from 1,400, but it would be great if I could get over 2,000 this year. Anyway, if I could get to 10 eventually, feel good about that. And then I went beyond that, whatever. But I feel like 10 would be a good way to start. Anyway, enough about how many people follow me, but I would like for my Instagram followers to really get a notification that I'm going live and be able to come in and do this because they only know that I do the live streams on the occasional moment where I post about the fact that I do the live streams. So if you follow me on Instagram and you make your way over to here, thank you for taking the time. And for the rest of you, well, I'm sorry, I can't get these videos to you yet. Not I see the top of my, I don't think I'm going to be able to get those cards printed in time. I really wanted to, for the online market next week, to have Valentine's Day cards available. But I finished him and the Mummy, the new version of the Mummy, which I only touched a little bit on Saturday when I was working in the studio and watching Stephen Carrian's what's that, right? So yeah, cool. But what's that? But, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, but anyway, yeah. I was watching the show. The convention on Sunday. Right? And then, yeah. No, no. What happens when I use these shades? I was using my camera. I don't know. Being in the studio again for a time, I just kind of have been wanting to use my whatchamacallit. regular pencils, but I'm so used to not properly working with those things. There's a challenge again. I used to be able to cut the hairline from an inch just like not breaking. I go through all that trouble again because I keep trying to tell everybody I am crazy. And you know why I decided I won't make that. Really, when it comes down to it, like, going to learn over the years does not reproduce as well. That's why I'm not throwing this often with my. Of course, I can't find one. Oh. There's going to be one somewhere here. My O1s on my mic, not the O. Well, those are way too small. I stopped using those years ago. Oh, the sound is cutting in and out. That's maybe I'm just mumbling myself too badly. How about that? Hang on. All right. Oh, nope. Gotta mute that. Forgot about the feedback. My apologies. Okay, so now we're using the mic on the phone again. That'll be okay for the moment. You know what? Oh, people are going to kill me for this. There, much better. Okay. They would shadow ban you for saying Instagram on. How's it going, Rob? I haven't mentioned it. It's going to come with the next Patreon update, but I have narrowed down the exact subject matter of the first tarot deck I'll do. But because of some of the other projects I'm trying to get done this year, I don't know. I might start it by the end of the year, but I do not know that it will be. It's certainly not going to be first or second quarter. But yeah, I actually have like a whole theme, and it actually each like I remember Dwayne, who's usually on here, has mentioned maybe doing like a Chadiana set, which I'm not opposed to, right? But it would be different than that in the sense that, like, if I did a Chadiana tarot, it would all be Chadiana, whereas each suit in the tarot that I'm thinking of doing will be a different subject, but they'll all kind of relate well, if that makes any sense. And if I do a playing card deck, I guess I have an idea for that too, because Dwayne had suggested that might be a more, a less labor-intensive way to at least start doing cards. But yeah. Anyway. But yeah, don't worry about it, Rob. I actually, near the end of last year, happened upon my tarot deck. I know what it'll be. Weight's going to be a little long. Apologize, but you'll get it. Decent weather for show this weekend. I know, because it's been cold as... so many phrases I can't use on the live stream. But yeah, it's been really cold. Witches is one that comes to mind. Anyway, always does. But yeah, the weather's a lot better because it was extremely cold down in Wildwood 2 weekends ago. Even though there wasn't any snow, which there had been the year previous, but there was a better turnout last year for whatever reason. And then same thing with Tom's River. It was bitter cold, and I was happy to do the show, but the just getting dressed, and it's a funny thing, isn't it? Because I love the winter. I love the cold. But like anybody else, if I gotta go to work in the cold in the winter with snow on the ground, it changes you. You're suddenly not as thrilled about the fact that it was pretty frigid, I should say. I'm pretty good with the weather until it hits close to 20 degrees. There are even times where I feel so warm, and maybe that's a byproduct of my anxiety or whatever, but I feel so warm. If it's like 34, 32 degrees out, I'll go walk out in a t-shirt sometimes just to like cool off, like when I take out my garbage or something, I'll just be like, need to just like cool off a little bit. So I will do that. But yeah, once you start getting toward 20 or below 20, then it's too cold even for me. I can't do that. That's when it just, it gets that bitter cold feeling rather than just like a nice cold that I enjoy. So, yeah, I'm drawing very slow today. What a surprise. Although I will say I am getting better at drawing on these live streams because, in the beginning, I can relate. I never had the drive into Manhattan, but when I was in college, and we were just talking about it earlier, I was mentioning, I commuted in from New Jersey to Brooklyn. Who was that? Oh my God. My brother and a couple of friends, we have this texting thread. It's usually just memes and everything. Anyway, so yeah, what do we got? Which is always fun. Don't get me wrong. Oh man, drawing faster, commuting. Yeah, so I used to go to Brooklyn and back, on mass transit, and man, that was rough. Now, you know, if I got to go into the city, as long as it's for uh, pleasure rather than for work, I'm happy. I don't want to get myself blacklisted here by saying this, but like, if I get back into New York Comic Con and I do that show, I'm gonna be excited, right? I'm not gonna love commuting into the city for 4 days to do it, though. I was just like, no way around it. But when the Spider's Web was still open and I'd drive out to Yonkers, that was fun, whether it took me 20 minutes or it took me 40 minutes, because the traffic was bad. I didn't mind. Yeah, I don't know. I think when you got to go to work, it changes. It really does. You're just seeing friends or whatever. Cool. Bring this closer. No, not that close, but I think I'm gonna switch tools, which is always drives my friend Steph Wilson nuts because power to him. I'm not knocking him for it. He just uses his nice yellow Ticonderoga pencils and he just goes to town. Yeah, I don't know. I probably should have been on this earlier. This is going to sound like the silliest thing in the world. But when I got to college, I used to use mechanical pencils. Of course, I was using Bic mechanical pencils. I wasn't using like artist grade, which is what I use now. But man, the professors just like were so intolerant of anybody using a mechanical pencil. So I got this idea in my head that if I was going to be an artist, I couldn't use a mechanical pencil. And the only reason, this is going to sound like the strangest thing, I got used to carving and drawing with my, carving my pencils with this, drawing with them, and keeping the point sharp. And I got really good. I could like carve quick at one point and not break the point. But anyway, enough about me. No. The reason that I switched over to mechanical pencils again wasn't even speed. It was because I was going, that was when I was still going into New York Comic Con, and we're talking like, I was in college during my first year in college was 9/11, but in a post 9/11 world, I started thinking to myself, with all these security checks getting into New York Comic Con, one of these days, those security guards are going to say, "What? You're trying to bring this on the show floor? Get out of here!" And I'm going to be like, "Now I can't do any commissions for the weekend." That's literally why I switched to a mechanical pencil again, because I was just thinking I'm not going to be able to, like, I can't risk not having a pencil with me when I'm at the convention. So wasn't really supposed to be. So yeah, that was the long, not so long, unnecessary story of how I stopped using and then started learning to love mechanical pencil. Or, well, if you really wanted to strange love it, I guess how I learned to stop worrying and use the mechanical pencil. Whatever. Anyway. Peter Sellers, what an interesting man. We do not want to make her look like she's smiling, though, JM. She doesn't do that very often. She's a little prickly. 99% of the time. Anyway, I just really want this first page to look good. And then, and people will say, oh, look, he's drawn a new Chadiana. Where's number 3, JM? It's because I'm just trying through many years to just get over hating it, which I loved it at one point. I just thought it was so good. Oh, well, and then there's the problem of getting to the conlangs on it, which, call me silly, but it's important to me. More than half of the people reading the book now and in the future will probably not even care that I'm putting this level into it. But I know James cares, and I know Dwayne does. Those are 2 people I can count on for at least. Not saying anything disparaging about anybody else. I know that they have personally encouraged me on all the detail I put in. Well, to the conlangs and everything, Yeah. I know I've got your support. Long processes be damned. So anyway. Mm-hmm. That was an interesting thing, James, wasn't it? I kind of felt like I got a little bit of clout with the group because somebody mentioned, oh, have you ever read Mark Rosenfelder's language construction kit? Or, yeah, right. And I was like, actually, Mark Rosenfelder is who told me about the conlang list and encouraged me to join it because we had a little bit of a correspondence. Of course, I don't want to put that out on YouTube and then somebody finds this video and is like, you know what? I'm going to email him. I don't know. He was just really welcoming and nice to me. I hope that would be everybody's experience with him, But I take those chances sometimes. That's how I became I could barely call him an acquaintance. I appreciate that. Thank you, James. It's nice because it's a whole other world that, like I said, I just kind of felt like on the outside of without any connection to. But actually, that's how I got. I wouldn't even call him an acquaintance now because I so rare. Our interactions are basically on Facebook and Instagram, but that's how I sort of became an acquaintance with Alexander O. Smith, who, incidentally, right, we're talking about languages. He's the guy that translated, did the localization for Vagrant Story and Final Fantasy 12. He usually works on the Yasumi Matsuno games, or did. I know he does other stuff. But interesting, James, we were talking about this kind of the other day when I was talking about translating Nosferatu from the original German. I interviewed Alex, as he's called by, I guess, the people that know him, and I'm pretty sure I can call him Alex because he signed his emails that way with me. He was not trained as a translator. I think he was like a literature major. Maybe he had like some linguistic classes and stuff like that. But he went over to Japan to get a job and wound up being on a interviewing at Square. Were they Square Soft still then, or they were Square Enix already? But you know, but yeah, I don't think his I could be mistaken, and of course I'm sure that he's learned a lot over the years, but I don't know that his main degree had anything to do with linguistics whatsoever. I think it was just like literature, and I think it was ancient literature, which often does wind up coming with some linguistic classes, as I've heard, just because you're reading ancient texts, and you know, that's how I got, besides Tolkien, that's how I got more informed on languages and grammars and stuff like that, is all the reading I did of medieval and ancient texts. You know, you start picking things up, even though I'm reading translated versions, but whatever, you know. But yeah, he wasn't a translator by trade originally. And so, yeah, that's another reason why I feel confident. Like, yeah, you don't have to be a linguist to make a good translation. And like I said, I think I have enough, at least, book knowledge of the basics of German and kind of how it works. And, you know, again, I'm able to identify what grammar artifacts are still in English from its Germanic roots. So, you know, I'm confident in the ability to do the translation. Well, you know, it'll be a good practice for my conlangs too, right? But I will say this: that was the one thing that Alex had told me when I interviewed him, and this is worth mentioning since I'm just taking us along this thread, right? Is that if you're going to translate something, right? A translator, of course, is good to have, but it's really good to have a writer, somebody that knows how to write, which his literature background, of course, helps with, because, you know, and of course, you know, you'll be aware of this too, James, you know, just even from building languages, you know, like when you translate from one language into another, it can wind up being very clinical. I don't think that's the word he used, but I'm, you know, paraphrasing. And if you are a writer in the native language that you're translating into, you're able to translate the words into a way that they would be more approachable, or, you know, the phrases wouldn't feel so stilted, or, you know, whatever, to the funny. Yeah, stilted. And, you know, to the native speakers. Incidentally, I was just talking with a friend about this last week because he's really into Viking and Scandinavian stuff. I had a weird right, what was that, run-in with this when I read the Kalevala. I read the Kalevala in college, and again, all these books I took up and read on my own. They were not college recommended. The only thing I got out of college, as far as like older literature went, was I did have a medieval professor who got me into the French medieval literature, because I was all Germanic and Old English and that sort of thing. All the Anglo-Saxon stuff I was into. So she got me into the French stuff. But Okay, so Kalevala, right. So one of the there was a particular line, and I don't remember what the translation was, like what it was in the original poem or song, but the guy wanted to keep the flow of the sentence, and something in the Kalevala was referenced as being sort of a I don't know, almost like an offbeat pop culture reference, or it would have been at the time in the Kalevala. So it was the one standout in the whole translation I remember, but he translated it as Rocky Horror, like, the play Rocky Horror, because he just felt like that would make it, that would get the idea across the best to a modern audience. Now, I remember him like specifically, I think there was a note and him like defending that translation. But yeah, there could have been other ways to do it. That man referenced Rocky Horror Picture Show in the Kalevala when he translated it. And what a memorable moment that was, because of all things I've ever read translated, that one sticks out. I don't remember who the translator was for that one. No idea. It's on my shelf, but I'm not going to get up right now and do it. Oh man, I used to love. Man, I should just read some old literature. I do want to finish Salem Slot. I used to pore over those books, man. And if I didn't know a word, I'd like have the old big, uh, Merriam-Webster's dictionary, and I just like pull those pages and look for the word, and oh man, glorious days. And then sometimes I'd be writing and I'd be trying to figure something out, and I'd have to go to the shelf and look something up because, I remember something being referenced in a text somewhere, and that's when my mind was less calm and I had more energy to do it. Now I'm just like, holy God, I don't know how I would have time for that, running to the bookshelf every 5 minutes trying to figure. But I wrote a whole novel in college, even with all those starts and stops. Traveling to New York City and state multiple times a week. Now, maybe I should put her hand on the lower belt. The top one seems a little bit too high. New reading audience is going to be introduced to Chadiana in this one. So, and I've never on a comic page drawn her full figure large like this. It just seemed a great way to do that. Worth mentioning, James, since you are aware of the Witcher series, and I actually was, I already had the plan to do this because of Conan, the Hellboy, some of the Hellboy graphic novels and stuff like that, but a lot of Chadiana's story is kind of told like those first two Witcher books are, where it just kind of like jumps around all over her life. And, of course, I'm still finishing the first one, but yeah, the first two graphic novels don't follow a straight story thread, so to speak, as much as they kind of tell different tales in her story. I'm talking to you, James, only because you're the only one that I know is here. What the hell? Well, but yeah, worth a mention there. All this time and all I got done was part of this. Well, no, I mean, yeah, I laid out a lot. Sorry. All the student rosters from when I was teaching, we used to have to print out so many of those, so I would just chop them up into scrap paper. So I shouldn't have somebody's name on the camera. Well, I appreciate that, and I'll let everybody know on the live stream and on my Patreon and anybody that subscribes to my mailing list. But when this shows up, which will be fairly soon, allegedly, I've talked with the publisher about having a promo code so that people who have it can get the back issues of this, not Chadiana, but back issues of the publication, and in addition to getting the subscription, because this one's going to be worth it. It took me a little bit, but I landed on a story I'm very happy with, and I don't like putting out junk. I don't like just throwing something together and putting it out, especially when I'm telling a story. But I don't even like doing it as an artist anymore either. I think there was a time when I was younger where, speed was everything. And yeah, you still have to be fast, but I don't want to put something out there that I'm just like, you know what? I really rushed that, and it was horrible to do because now I'm not proud of what I did. It's funny, at the beginning of the stream, I wouldn't even mention Chadiana, but now it's just like, well, we're already there, aren't we? She's pretty much coming to life. I don't have her headset with her bindies on it, but pretty much everything else that is fairly recognizable about her is already on the page. Chadiana in black and white? Yeah, that's right, it will be. A suspense / somewhat spooky. I wouldn't call it really a true horror story. I gotta go a little PG, leaning toward PG-13 on this one. Whereas a lot of the series tends on the PG-13 to R rating, but Yeah, I really like how that's coming out. Yeah, I should just stick to this. I'm so used to using these now. Why even bother? I mean, I do like using these when I'm doing a acrylic painting. Anyway, where are we? Oh, we're getting close to the end. I didn't even realize it. I'm having too much fun now, talking to myself. And who's ever listening? Actually, I'm going to get off topic again. But a little bit of the design of Chadiana's sword, even though it's supposed to be more Indian-based, right? The culture she's from is based on South Asia and India. Her sword does take a little bit of inspiration from the protagonist of Vagrant Story, Ashley Riot, who actually uses a falchion, but it is not a typically designed falchion. It doesn't have this in it, but it's kind of a little bit like wider and curved bigger, so it doesn't quite, it kind of almost looks like a tulwar, but in some respects not like a true falchion. But yeah, when I was designing her, immediately my mind went to his sword. And I was like, I know they say it's a falchion, but it kind of looks a little bit more Middle Eastern to me in its design. Some of that's going to be completely off the page. Oh, well. It be what it be. That's just an image to frame and show Chadiana. And this will be the story bits here. Patreon. Not for... Oh. Far right choice on a set of images. Just throwing that out there. Not far right in the political sense. Is answering a question I had on Patreon. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for putting your vote in. I appreciate that. I still have to post it to my Kickstarter backers who are probably cursing my existence at this point. And if they see this, they're really going to be like hating me. Well, anyway, yeah, some of these influences overlap for sure. I'm not sure what you mean, James, but yeah, I mean, do you mean you and I, or do you mean like my influences? But yeah, of course, there's a lot of overlap. I very much am a fan of the type of stuff that I like to read and play and look at. So. I mean, the stuff that I write and draw is very much the stuff that I like to read, play, watch, look at, whatever. So, my influences have a range of some stuff that's known, but then there's a lot of obscurity throughout, which I think, besides a person's unique perspective on the world, I think having obscure influences helps too, because then your stuff doesn't look like everyone else's. Oh, medieval and Indian cultures. Yeah. Well, of course. I just always had I always had an interest all over the place, right? Like when I was in Taekwondo and I was taking martial arts, I really had a big interest in like Eastern cultures, and I don't know, Middle Eastern and Indian culture really always was of interest to me, and had a few friends growing up, but I got more into it when one of my girlfriends was, but she still is, of course, Indian, and it just kind of, I got more exposed to the culture that way, and yeah, there's just a lot of things in it that I think are interesting, and even besides that, moving into the Middle East, I mean, I always had an interest, like, I love paisley designs, which is kind of like Indian inspired, and there's a lot of like Middle Eastern textile stuff that I really like too. But we spoke about it on the Conline group, you and I, James, and everybody that was there. Like, I like Semitic languages, and Arabic is a Semitic language. It's the triconsonant mostly. I know that there's some dual roots and some odd, four. Yeah, so that, and I always liked, I don't know, like artwork, just the intricacy, which kind of relates to my style anyway. Whether it was as far north as stuff like from the Byzantine Empire, or you go into the Cirilla, you go into the Middle East and South Asia, even looping up into Southeast Asia. There's just like some of the the intricacy in like architecture and design and stuff like that is just beautiful. So, I mean, in Western culture, the only thing I can think of is like off the top of my head, like the Gothic architecture that has that kind of like level of just detail in it. So yeah, I mean, I think I always liked the culture for a lot of those things too. And then the food's delicious. I know some people don't like it who aren't native to the area, but I enjoy Indian food. Pretty much everything I've had, South Asian and going all the way to the East, because I've had Thai food, and of course Japanese and Chinese and Korean, and yeah, so still like my Italian food though, because I did grow up with that's the main thing I am. But yeah, I like all that other stuff too. And we were talking about it on the Conlang group too, right? So languages, art, food, and beliefs or religion. Those are like that's the the golden four that I think make up a culture. Their arts, their food, their beliefs, and their language. And a lot of that sometimes is highly influenced by the climate or geography around them, but how they interpret that into all those other things, and what they do with that just speaks a lot to a culture. Anywho, that's my history and culture lesson for the evening. Or 6 minutes after 10, and I'm not quite done drawing Chadiana, but gonna have to be tomorrow because I gotta get this moving. So anyway, I'll be back on the next week, right? Yeah, what's that? The 30th? 30th, I think. So I think Monday's the 29th. Yeah, and then 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See, I didn't say Eastern Central this time. So, yeah. All right, so yeah, I will see you all next week. I see there's another comment. Makajandi. Gotta go now. See ya. I'll see you on Sunday, Rob. I guess you're going to the Sussex County Fairgrounds. Okay, everyone. Have a great night, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.